Hello, my name is Joe Ross. I'm a partner with Televate. We're a public safety communications consultancy. We've helped public safety agencies build dozens of systems, have engaged with tens of thousands of first responders, and we're starting this new video series for first responders, leveraging this decades of experience that we've had. And today I had the privilege of speaking with Dom Arcuri, my friend and partner. Dom, why don't you go ahead and tell us about yourself?
Hello. Yes, have been a practicing engineer for 40 plus years, over 30 of which has been focused on public safety communications, both with a major manufacturer and with consulting firms. My primary focus throughout that period it has been matching the right technology with public safety agencies' needs.
Great. So the topic for today is analog versus digital. So you've been around public safety for a long time, so you've seen where it's only analog, pre-digital.
Exactly.
So what's the difference between analog and digital?
Well, to be a little simplistic, of course, analog voice or analog technology for radio is transmitting the spoken voice in analog communication, very similar to FM radio, for example, just taking the voice and transmitting it over the air without any type of um, operation or modification to it. And digital technology uses a voice coder, which takes the voice and codes it into a digital bit stream, essentially ones and zeros that are transmitted over the air instead of the analog voice. To liken that to cellular communications, which of course everyone is familiar with, the first generation of cellular was analog voice, and ever since then, the second generation on, of course, most systems are 5G or fifth generation right now. Those have all been digital as well.
Great. So what are the digital options for public safety?
Well, the one we see primarily for public safety is referred to as Project 25 or P25. It was a standard developed by APCO, the Association for Public Safety Communications Officials, over 30 years ago, actually, and it is continuing to evolve. It has evolved throughout that time frame and continues to evolve to improve and add new features. So we see Project 25 very frequently. There are also other digital technologies such as DMR, Next Edge, and Moto Turbo, which we see primarily used for other applications, business and industrial radio applications.
Okay, so why would a public safety agency want to switch to digital? What are the benefits of it?
Well, digital has a number of benefits. The One of the most important is that digital can actually improve the coverage you receive from a radio system. For an equivalent system that's analog transitions to digital, you will actually see better coverage. And not to get too technical, but from a mathematical standpoint, you actually get somewhere between 6 and 9 dB of improvement moving to digital, which means you'll be able to communicate further away from your radio sites or your towers and still hear clear communications. So that's a major advantage. Also, the voice is more consistent throughout that entire coverage area. Many are familiar with the analog technology, and it will gradually degrade as you get further away from the tower. Digital stays very consistent because it uses the digital coding, and there's actually error correction built into the algorithm that can correct a number of errors out to a given distance. So you hear very consistent communications throughout your coverage area. Also, digital gives you the capability to add additional features. There can be information embedded in the voice transmission to give you location information, for example, or small brief text messages. And also it makes encryption or privacy type communications much easier to implement using digital.
So if there's what you said, a 10 dB benefit, so that would mean that digital would be able to have the same audio quality at signal levels that are 10 times weaker, right? Than
Exactly.
analog? Okay.
Exactly. That's a large benefit. It seems very optimistic, but that is actually what we see.
Okay. So that's why you would want to go to digital, but why wouldn't you want to go to digital?
Well, just as any new technology, there are costs involved. So the radios themselves are generally more expensive. The manufacturers, of course, are providing additional features, so they will charge for that new technology and the additional features. That's, probably the primary reason that agencies might, consider moving to digital. But also, there's some users, of course, need to get familiar with the technology as well. So there's always some hesitance to moving to new technology.
Okay. So one of the things I've heard is analog sounds better than digital when the signal is weak. I mean, isn't that a benefit of analog?
Well, there are differences, and essentially that comes down to individual preference from what we see. Analog does sound different, especially when the signal gets weaker as you get near the edge of coverage. You will hear how the analog signal or the voice gradually degrades as you move away from the tower, whereas the digital will stay very consistent. So some users are used to that, even though the voice quality may not be as good. They are used to the fact that they can tell when they're moving towards the edge of coverage because of the gradual degradation of the voice quality.
Well, and when the audio gets robotic with digital, isn't it hard to tell who the caller is? So you lose that context of you know, who's
That
speaking.
has been an issue in the past, but primarily with the initial implementation of digital. It's been refined over decades now, and the voice coders have matured, and we rarely see that as an issue now. Most people are able to determine who the caller is. The voice quality is excellent, and it's very easy to tell who you're speaking with. You will potentially hear some robotic types of sounds when you get right towards the edge of coverage.
Okay. All right. Well, that wraps up this topic. I'd like to invite everyone to provide comments below to let us know if they have any other questions about analog and digital or any other topics that they'd like to hear about regarding public safety communication systems. So thank you and look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks, everyone.